All right, y'all gather around the fire. Let me tell you a story. A tale that still sends shivers down my spine to this very day. The night I'm about to tell you about was just like this. Thick, heavy air, a mere sliver of moon offering little light, and long, dancing shadows stretching everywhere. It was the kind of night where the forest seemed to hold its breath. Me, Jake, Chloe, and Mia were deep in Black Creek woods, miles from the nearest town. Our small campfire, the only defiant spark against the overwhelming darkness. We thought we were just having a fun camping trip. Every snap of a twig underfoot, every rustle in the leaves made our hearts jump into our throats. The forest floor seemed to whisper secrets we weren't meant to hear. We tried to act tough, telling jokes and sharing stories, but we all felt it. That prickling, unsettling sense of being watched, scrutinized by something unseen. It was more than just the usual forest creatures. We'd played in these woods since we were kids, built forts, told stories, but this night felt profoundly different. The woods pressed in, the trees looming like silent giants, darker and more oppressive than ever before. Jake, ever the protector, kept nervously scanning the trees, his eyes darting from shadow to shadow, searching for any sign of movement. Chloe shivered under her thickest blanket, despite the fire's warmth, and the easy laughter we'd started with slowly faded, replaced by a tense, uncomfortable silence that grew heavier with each passing moment. Something was out there, ancient, patient, something that had been there long before us, hidden deep in the earth, perhaps even beneath it, listening to our every breath, every nervous heartbeat. The fire, crackling and spitting, was our only shield, a fragile barrier against the encroaching blackness and whatever lurked within it. Every gust of wind that swept through the trees twisted and distorted our faces in the flickering firelight, making us look like grotesque strangers, barely recognizable to one another. We desperately tried to convince ourselves that we were alone, that it was just our imaginations running wild, but deep down, in the pit of our stomachs, we knew better. The woods knew we were there, had always known. And something else, something far more sinister, did too. This was the night we'd stop being carefree kids, playing in the woods. This was the night we'd come face to face with true, unadulterated darkness. A darkness that would change us forever. Jake, ever the explorer, wandered off with the big flashlight, venturing deeper into the woods. The beam cut through the darkness, a dancing beacon in the stillness of the night. A few minutes later, his voice echoed through the trees. He shouted for us to come, his tone a mix of excitement and urgency. We grabbed our lights, adrenaline pumping, and ran towards his voice, stumbling through the dark undergrowth. Branches snagged at our clothes, and the uneven ground threatened to trip us at every step. Jake was 50 yards from camp, his flashlight beam fixed on something at the ground. There, half buried in moss and decaying leaves, was a heavy iron door. It was round and imposing, with a rusty wheel handle, like something salvaged from a submarine. It looked incredibly out of place. No path led to it, no sign indicated its presence. It was just there, ancient and forgotten, a secret swallowed by the forest. A cold feeling washed over us, a sense of unease that settled deep in our bones. This definitely didn't belong here, not in these woods, not anywhere we could imagine. Mia whispered, her voice barely audible. "What is it? What could it be?" Jake grinned, his eyes shining with excitement. "A bunker! An honest-to-goodness bunker!" He started clearing away the moss and dirt, revealing more of the metal door, his enthusiasm infectious. Chloe hesitated, a note of caution in her voice. Maybe we should just leave it alone. Some things are better left undisturbed. But Jake was already gripping the wheel, his knuckles white as he prepared to open it. The allure of the unknown was too tempting to resist. We were teenagers, reckless, curious, and, if we were honest with ourselves, more than a little scared. The mystery pulled us in. The fear was real, a knot in our stomachs, but curiosity was louder, a siren's call we couldn't ignore. Jake braced himself, took a deep breath, and pulled with all his might. The door groaned in protest, a long, drawn-out sound that echoed through the silent woods, amplified by the darkness. The wheel, stiff with rust and age, began to turn, slowly, reluctantly. The wheel turned, shrieking against the rust. With a thud, the lock released. It took all three of us to lift the door. A blast of cold, stale air hit us, old dirt, metal, and decay. Our flashlights revealed steep concrete stairs descending into blackness. The cold was unnatural, like a tomb. "Who's going first?" Jake asked. I volunteered, trying to sound brave. We descended, footsteps echoing in the silence. The bunker was a single, large room, dusty desk, scattered papers, cots, shelves of ancient canned food. The most unsettling thing, a pile of neatly folded clothes in the center, untouched by dust. Why fold them, then dump them? The room felt frozen in time, heavy with unanswered questions. It was like we'd walked into someone's last moments. The air was thick, waiting. We were intruders, and we were not welcome. We explored the bunker. Old letters, faded cans, a concrete box full of ghosts. The silence pressed in, deep and listening. After a while, Jake had a wild idea. "Let's stay the night down here." Chloe refused, but Jake taunted, "What are you scared of, ghosts?" He argued it was safer than the wood, solid concrete, nothing could get in. The dare was set. None of us wanted to back down. Against our better judgment, we agreed. We grabbed our sleeping bags and lanterns from the campsite. Standing at the top of the stairs, doubt crept in. We pulled the iron door shut. It boomed, sealing us inside. The silence was absolute. We were alone. Or so we thought. The air felt heavier, colder. We had no idea what we just invited. We set up our sleeping bags, lanterns barely pushing back the dark. For a while we tried to convince ourselves this was fun, but the cold and silence grew. Around midnight, a soft scratching came from the desk corner, like a fingernail on concrete. We froze, flashlights searching but found nothing. "Probably just a rat," Jake whispered, but none of us believed it. The sound was too slow, too deliberate. We lay awake, listening. Then came a new sound, fabric dragging across the floor, from the pile of clothes. Shh, shh, like someone unfolding a shirt. We all heard it, staring at the dark lump in the shadows. The cold spot in the room grew, spreading from the clothes. Fear prickled at our skin. This wasn't our imagination. We were locked in and something was in there with us. The room felt smaller, the darkness alive. The noises grew bolder, footsteps, a can rattling, shadows shifting. We huddled together, flashlights darting, but saw nothing. It was a game of cat and mouse, and we were the prey. Chloe started to cry, begging to leave, but we were too scared to move. The cold deepened, our breath fogging in the lantern light. Around 3 a.m., the lantern near the clothes flickered, then died. In the darkness, a young girl's lullaby echoed, soft, sad, and chilling. That was the breaking point. Jake screamed and bolted for the stairs. Panic took over. We grabbed our things, tripping over each other. We fumbled at the iron door, desperate to escape. The humming stopped, replaced by a suffocating silence. We felt its presence, watching as we fought to get out. The bunker was no longer just a room. It was a trap. We had to get out, no matter what. With a final, desperate shove, the heavy iron door scraped open with a deafening screech, a sound that echoed through the silent woods. The mechanism groaned in protest, metal grinding against metal after years of disuse. A sliver of dawn broke the oppressive darkness, a beacon of hope in the encroaching gloom. The first rays of sunlight pierced through the dense canopy, illuminating the path ahead. We scrambled up the cold, damp stairs, gasping for fresh air, our lungs burning with each breath. We didn't dare look back. fearing what might be lurking in the shadows below. We ran blindly through the woods, the undergrowth snagging at our clothes, leaving everything behind in a desperate attempt to escape the horrors we had witnessed. We didn't stop running until we reached the deserted road, the vibrant sunrise painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, a stark contrast to the darkness we had just escaped. We didn't talk about what happened in the bunker. We didn't have to. The unspoken terror hung heavy in the air between us, a shared burden we would carry forever. The memory of the cold, the whispers, the lullaby, it haunted us in our dreams, a constant reminder of the evil we had encountered. We never went back to Black Creek Woods, not even in the daylight. The fear was too great, the memories too vivid. No one would believe our crazy story anyway. The things we saw defied explanation. That bunker wasn't just empty, it was a grave, a forgotten tomb swallowed by the earth. A place for a lonely spirit, forever folding clothes and humming a mournful tune to no one, trapped for eternity. We'd trespassed on sacred ground, and it let us know, in no uncertain terms, that we weren't welcome there. Sometimes, on quiet nights when the wind is just right, I still hear that faint, haunting humming. It's a chilling reminder that some places are best left undisturbed, their secrets buried deep within the earth. If you ever find a place that feels inherently wrong, a place that sends shivers down your spine, turn around immediately. Leave it to the ghosts, for they are the only ones who truly belong there. Now, who wants to grab the flashlights and go exploring?